In the past 5 years, Kinstretch has completely changed the way that I train, move, and play sports, and honestly, I wish I had found out about it sooner. And today I want to share that story with you. My name is Nick Barbosa. I'm a Kinstretch coach out of South Florida. I help athletes and active adults train themselves out of pain, heal old injuries, and get back to the sports, activities, exercises, and adventures that they love. And just earlier today, I was looking through my soccer team's group chat, and I noticed that there was one guy, one of my teammates, that told us that he sprained his ankle yesterday and that he would not be able to make it to the game on Sunday. Every time something like this happens, and to be honest, it's way more often than you would think. Every time I think to myself, if only this person had been implementing a Kinstretch practice for longer, or to be honest, at all, then they might have been resilient enough not only to not have such a severe injury, maybe that injury doesn't happen at all, or even if it does, the process of getting back recovered and getting back into your sport would be a lot quicker. And like I said before, someone that's around so many athletes like myself of so many sports all the time, people ask me so many questions on my DMs. I always hear pretty much the same thing over and over and over again. And every single time I think to myself, I wish I could have presented this to you sooner. And let's be real here. Everyone that's active, that plays a sport, that considers themselves an athlete, either professional or recreational, everyone's broken to some degree. There's always a knee thing, there's always a shoulder thing, there's always a back thing, and if it's none of those, then it's an ankle thing or a wrist thing or a neck thing. Everyone has something. And I would know this even if I didn't talk to anybody because I was like that too. I've been playing soccer my whole life. I'm Brazilian, so we're basically born with that thing between our feet. I remember when I moved to the US and I started playing a little bit more competitively than I was in Brazil when I was very young. I remember that I had to sit out some games because I had a hip flexor thing. I ended up having an ankle thing. I remember vividly sitting in my bed having a TENS unit in my hip flexor, watching TV, trying to rest and recover for the game. And I don't think I did. I don't think that did much for me at all, to be honest with you guys. And I remember being so frustrated because I wanted to play so bad. That's always been like my biggest passion. The biggest thing that I look forward to every single day is always whatever movement I'm doing for that day. So sometimes it's soccer, sometimes it's just training in the gym, sometimes it's rollerblading, sometimes it's skimboarding. There's many things anything that's movement related is my passion. Most of the traveling that I do is to go hike mountains. For me, my hips and my ankles were always my personal weak spots, which is why probably if you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys see me posting on my story, mostly me training hips and ankles pretty much every week. Historically, they've just been tighter, weaker areas for me, so I'm slowly reversing myself out of that with some Kinstretch training. But back then, no matter what I tried, nothing really attacked the root cause until in 2020, a colleague of mine introduced me to the system. I trained with him for 2 years, got certified myself, started coaching other people as well, trying to implement everything that I was learning. I was able to see all the transformations hands-on to all the people that I was coaching, but also to myself in all the sports that I was applying the system towards. And that period of my life was really, really transformative. I really didn't think something like this was possible. And it wasn't even something that it was like revolutionary in my head at the time. It's just something that you don't even think exists, which is probably where you're at with your life right now. It's a problem that seems very minor, but that shows up every single day. And that's where things get a little weird, right? Because we always try to tackle the biggest problem that we have in our life, but I think if we fix the 80% that happens every single day, that's like most of our life. And I think that's actually a huge part of it. The little things that bother you just enough for you to ignore, they're actually more destructive than all of us think. The little habits and the little things and the things that show up every single day consistently are the things we should pay the most attention to. And I don't think a lot of us do. Anyways, we fast forward now to 2025. I've obviously been coaching this for about 5 years now. I've implemented it to over 400 people in the past 5 years. And I'm back in my soccer league playing 3 times a week. I strength train in the gym about 4 times a week. I play tennis whenever possible, pickleball with my friends, with my dad. I skate occasionally. I love doing that. I'm trying to learn how to rollerblade so I can play roller hockey. I occasionally skimboard when I get to go to the west coast of Florida because the ocean there is a lot better than the ocean here for skimboarding. I engage in so many different movement habits and so much movement variability nowadays. I think it would be impossible for me to do that with the body that I had previously. And guys, everyone in my team that just plays soccer, they're all having to sit out games because all of them are injured. I can't remember the last time I had a serious pain or a serious injury. I would say my main constraint right now for my movement in life is my schedule. It's not my body. I can pretty much put my body through most sports and activities and I know that I'll be able to recover quite well. And I will be completely honest with you guys. I have a terrible sleep schedule. Partly because I run a business, but partly because I've always had a terrible sleeping schedule. And even with the terrible sleeping schedule, I'm pretty much getting away with a lot of it. And I attribute a lot of that to the resiliency that I've built within my tissues in the past 5 years of applying this system. My body feels lighter, more mobile, reactive, and it's almost like I can figure out new ranges to work with when I'm doing a sport. My brain has more body to pull from. It is truly crazy. And so I make this video and I tell these stories so that people that are struggling right now and you're watching this video, even probably wondering what the hell is Kinstretch, which by the way, you can check out the rest of my social media pages, including this YouTube channel to find out more about it. Maybe you've already tried the TENS unit, the massages, the adjustments, everything, freaking acupuncture, everything that's passive, you've already tried all that and none of that has worked. It's probably because nothing addresses the root cause, which is always movement-based. Force is the language of cells and movement is what they speak. That is a direct quote from the creator of the system, meaning it is very hard to fix anything with passive means of care without an active component supporting it. And by active, I mean a training, producing and directing force through the tissues of your body. And so if you listen to all this and you still haven't tried anything active or anything training related, I promise you there's no better system to do that than the Kinstretch system. The good news for you is that if you want to try your first class for absolutely free, I'm going to leave a link in the description. That class is a class that happens here in South Florida that I coach myself every Thursday at 7 p.m. But I do know that most of you guys are not watching this from Florida. And so if you want access to all the classes that I've ever done, I do have a Kinstretch database, a Kinstretch platform called Move Mastery. In there, you'll find Kinstretch classes divided by joint, by injury, programs as well. So you have a progression tool week to week, a Q&A section, a one-on-one section with me, and also one of the most underrated parts, which is how to implement the Kinstretch practice into your weekly routine. If you're not doing Kinstretch consistently for a very long period of time, things will not improve. Guys, Kinstretch is not a band-aid. It's not something you just stamp on top of an injury and call it a day. It's a movement habit. It's a change in who you are. It's not about fixing your injury. It's about becoming the person that moves and trains themselves out of injury and into a more protected and prepared body. And that is my mission. That is what I'm here to do with all my socials. So I hope this made sense. I hope this video made it clear how Kinstretch can be so transformative to one's lives. If you guys have any questions, put them down in the comments or DM me over on Instagram. Have a good day.